make you better
And
as an
establish.
individual and as a couple. So it's only going to benefit you.
Yeah, and it really increases the intimacy between the two of you when you're able to get to that point where you can have those conversations and grow from them rather than just being offended by it and shutting it down.
Right.
Something that I think has really been helpful to us over the years, and I think we accidentally stumbled upon it, in one argument or disagreement we had where we couldn't find the right words to say, right? I don't know if it was you or me. I don't know. But it was like, all right, listen, we sit there for 5 minutes trying to figure out how to say it. You can't figure it out. And you're like, all right, I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. And the way it's going to come out is not what I mean. Mm-hmm. But this is the only way I know to say it to get my point across or help you to understand. And then you say it and the person is just like, okay, like, there wasn't a big deal. But sometimes you say things and they're taken a different way than what you meant because you just don't have the right words.
Yeah, taken out of context.
Yeah, they're taken out of context. So maybe you need a safe word or safe phrase. Like for us, we look at each other and it's like, okay, pause. Just understand this is coming out wrong, but I just got to say it. And right in that moment, either of us knows, okay, change my mindset. I will not take offense to this. Even if it comes off a certain way, it's my responsibility, receiving it, already knowing that they're having a hard time communicating it, to take a step back. And if I don't understand the way it came out, ask, all right, so what exactly, let's break that down. Because I received it this way, but with your intent as my partner, I know you didn't mean it that way. So let's break it down.
And then that leads to even more communication. Mm-hmm. So it starts to have, the conversation just starts to develop.
Yeah.
And then we can get on the same page. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's definitely been very helpful in our communication.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to give you kind of a guide to the levels of communications. There's levels to this, y'all. Levels. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the 5 love languages. If you are not, please Google it.
Please do.
Amazing. Gary Chapman is the author of the book. There's also a quiz you can go and take. So Mr. Gary Chapman has also identified in another one of his books, 5 levels of communication, okay, in his book, Now You're Speaking My Language, just in case you guys are interested in, looking into that resource. So we're going to talk a little bit about these 5 levels of communication that he mentions, because we feel like, again, it's all about identifying challenges. If you don't get to the source, if you don't identify it, then how can you improve? How can you grow? So 5 levels, okay? Level 1, okay, is called hallway talk. So basically, this is the lowest level of communication. This is like, you're at work, you're at the mall, you're walking past somebody, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Keep it moving, right? So it's those responses that naturally come out. Somebody asks, how are you? You're like, fine. Oh, how about you? It's a natural response. Doesn't take much thought. There's not much, emotion in it. It's just an automatic response. So that's what they call hallway talk. That's kind of like the lowest level of communication that you can have in relation to another person.
And level number 2 is reporter talk. So this is more fact-based, fact-driven, where it's the who, what, where, who I was with, what I was doing, where I went. Yeah. And that's the end of the conversation. Mm-hmm. There's no explanation. There's no description. There's no, we did this and we did that. And
no personal
engagement. There's no emotion. It's literally just the facts. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty tough to deal with sometimes.
Yeah. So how was your day, babe? What'd you do today? Went to work, ate lunch, came home. Great. So it's very the end. To the point. So the 3rd level is called intellectual talk. So intellectual talk, after the facts, kind of introduces some opinions and judgments regarding the facts that you've provided, right? So I think this, in response to what you said, well, I think that was a good idea, or I think maybe next time we should try this. So thoughts based off of the conversation, basically logical conversation, right? So it's based off of the facts, but you're giving a little bit of your input, your intellectual input.
Level number 4 is emotional talk. So now we're getting into it now.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting deep. So now it's a lot about how we feel. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more, as the title says, emotional. I'm really opening up my heart and having these deeper conversations with my spouse. Yeah. So, I feel like that is a really good one. And that's one of the toughest one. I know for myself, it was a tough one early on. Not so much now. I'm super emotional now.
Boy,
I don't cry, guys. I don't cry.
Stop it. Anyway, y'all. So, with the emotional talk, it can be a challenge when you get to this level because it can go one of two ways, right? Someone can open up and share how they feel about a situation, and the partner could totally shut down the way they're feeling. So then they don't want to do it anymore. So then they take 3 steps back and now they're back to hallway talk, right? You made all this progress and now you feel vulnerable enough to open up and share how you're feeling. But if it's not validated or, it seems like how you feel is not important, then you kind of revert back into intellectual. Like, I'm just going to give you my logical response and that's all you get. Or it could go the other way. So be mindful of how you respond to your partner or anyone you're in relationship with who is at that level where they feel comfortable enough to share on that emotional level, you know?
And be open enough to, when your spouse does and you realize it, to say, like, thank you for opening up in that way to me, so that they know that you see it. You see the growth. You see where we are now to maybe where you were at the beginning. And knowing that a lot of people do need to hear that, thank you. Thank you for doing, like, for getting us to this point. Like, it's appreciated.
And thank you for trusting me enough to share your heart, So the 5th level of communication, and this is like the apex of communication, according to our guy, Gary Chapman. Okay. So this is loving, genuine truth talk. So at this level, you get some intellectual, you get some emotional, you'll get the facts and all of that, but you're getting deep into it. You're speaking the truth in love and you're seeking to understand as the recipient. So it's not one-way communication. It's really engaging. It's seeking to understand your partner's viewpoints, both intellectually and emotionally. It's seeking to, in those tough conversations when there does have to be a hard conversation and you have to speak truth to them that may hurt, doing it in love, right? Not taking jabs, not saying you do this, I hate it when you do this, but, hey, this is something I wanted to talk to you about. This is something that happened, or this is something that you did that really hurt me, or something like that. But it's really just about being vulnerable with sharing, but also being open to understanding where your partner is coming from. Yeah. So that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, this level is what I want to call the last dragon level.
Oh my goodness.
And I might be showing my age to all our listeners out there, but this is when Bruce Leroy got the glow here. He was in the zone. So this is what we're going to call the last dragon level. We all need to get there.
Oh, Lord.
I'm just saying.
All right. Okay. I like it. The last dragon level. And let me say this. Let's understand that you can get to this level. It's not unrealistic. Let me say that, right? Some people, based on their experiences or, whatever, feel like communication is always going to go a certain way, especially if you're in a relationship a long time. I know this person. I know how it's going to go, but that's not true. Like, we can all grow if we are really taking a look at ourselves and and supporting each other along the way, right? Not being condemning, but being encouraging to each other to get to that point. But let me say this, you can be at the apex of communication, level 5, loving, genuine, truth talk, all that, and something can happen and take you back to reporter talk, right? I'm just going to give you the facts because I just don't feel like it. I don't want to deal with you. And sometimes it's just a moment. In a day, you're having a bad day and you step back to emotional or just the intellectual, just because I don't have the energy to go all the way in today. And that's okay.
Yeah.
We have to be okay with not being perfect. None of us are perfect.
The same way that we can grow out of levels in talking from hallway to reporter to, we can also go backwards. And it's a very, our levels of communication are very fluid day to day. It is a fluid, the levels are so fluid. So like she said, I can have a bad day at work, and when I come home, I don't want to talk about nothing. I am spent. I just had one of them days the other day. I got here and I was emotionally, mentally fried, and it happens.
Yeah.
But with that happening, I was at a point able to communicate to you, like, look, I can't even think straight right now. Like, my mind is just gone. And you were able to accept that and say, you know what? You're right. I apologize. Like, I wasn't even thinking. You had a rough day.
Right.
And we can talk about this tomorrow. So when we are in those funks that we can, so to say, we have to be able to communicate that to our partner.
Right.
And our partner has to be open enough to accept it and not take it personal, because that's what we can do sometimes. Oh, they don't want to talk to me now. But that's not the case. You gotta remove yourself from the conversation and just listen to what your partner's saying and intake it, and just say, like you said, you know what, babe, you're right. You definitely were having, you already told me that you were having a rough day, and we can talk about this tomorrow. And that, I appreciate that for you to do that. But I know other people don't have that. That for me to say that to you, if someone else says it, that could lead into a whole argument.
Right.
And the one thing you don't want to do is argue with somebody who literally just told you, I am mentally gone.
Right.
It's not what you want to do. So,
yeah.
Just really opening up on both ends, or opening up to communicate that and opening to receive it. So.
Yeah. That's a point that I actually wanted to make earlier that I missed is, regarding our communication period, especially when you are dealing with a trigger topic, something that can get kind of deep, you already know, or, just a difficult disagreement, being mindful of those things. Set aside the time for that. If you know the conversation can go there, if you know the topic can take you guys there, set aside time. Like, don't in the middle of, all right, I'm trying to get dinner for the kids, I'm trying to help with homework, and then you want to have this conversation at the same time. No, set aside a time for the two of you to step away and, hey, like, we just need to focus on this. But also, you want to be in the right headspace, like you said, and I've done this plenty of times. All day I'm thinking about, I have to tell Jose to do something. I've been meaning to tell him, and he walks in the door from work, and I'm like, babe, I need you to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he just like, like, I haven't given him the time to come inside and decompress from the day he had, working all day. Or even if it's the other way around and someone's at home with the kids all day, and then it's like, hey, do this. We have to give each other time to just decompress and get into the right mindset so that we can communicate correctly and so that we can receive correctly, so that we're not already on edge when receiving something that can be a difficult conversation. So
very, very good.
Yeah. So I think that's all we have for you today, guys.
Man, another one.
Another one down.
No, that was awesome. And we may revisit communication again down the road.
Because it's never ending.
It's so much we can discuss about communication. And it's, I'm glad we were able to get these two out. We really were passionate about it, and we just look forward to continuing this journey with everyone.
Yes, and we hope you're looking forward to it as